Alright, so in this video we're actually going to cover the rest of our pocket pets. So we've got our guinea pigs, our chinchillas, and our ferrets. Guinea pigs are up first. They're really very healthy under favorable environmental conditions, just like most of our other pocket pets we just talked about. You want to avoid drafts, you want to keep their temperatures and humidity constant to avoid any problems. When environmental conditions are not good, you can end up getting common colds and respiratory diseases, and they can end up being a major problem. As far as symptoms for that, animals will end up becoming lethargic. They're just not acting like themselves. They'll become listless. They'll have a nasal discharge and also sneezing. Prevention includes maintaining a good environment and immediate treatment with broad-spectrum antibiotics accompanied with vitamin C. And then toxemia, this is actually a buildup of toxins in the blood that's developed in late pregnancy. So your pregnant moms are going to get this. Symptoms, females will be lethargic, they'll go off their feed, they'll stop eating, and they'll have difficulty breathing. Prevention and treatment for toxemia, you want to feed a very high quality diet to your pregnant female, and you want to add about half a teaspoon of sugar in the water bottle, and this will help give her some energy. Guinea pigs are very unique in that they are prey animals, so what ends up happening is if they get sick, their little bodies know that they're sick, and they're like, you know what, their little body makes this decision that it just needs to shut down the symptoms, and we're not going to show symptoms, because as a prey animal, if their bodies show symptoms, that means that in the wild they would be more susceptible to a predator coming to get them. So by not allowing their bodies to show symptoms, they end up being sick for quite a while before we end up noticing it as people. So our domestic guinea pigs end up getting kind of the short end of the stick here, because once they show symptoms, it's like, well, it's too late to save them now. So a lot of times treatment for guinea pigs is just not effective. Chinchillas. So chinchillas really do need proper nutrition, and they need a clean, dry, draft-free environment, very low stress to avoid health problems. You want to make sure that you've got adequate ventilation. You want to avoid temperatures above 80, and you want to avoid cold drafts and high humidity. Pseudomonas aeruginosa is an organism that causes infection in wounds of animals, also causes inflammation of eyes and ears, can cause pneumonia, as well as intestinal inflammation and uterine inflammation, and also poisoning of the circulatory system. This thing is a little nasty little booger. They are also susceptible to eye inflammation or conjunctivitis. Symptoms of this include swelling and redness around the eyes, sensitivity to light. Their eyes will be watery, and you'll see pus in there. You want to isolate your infected animals. You want to wash their eyes out gently with a warm boric acid solution, and you can use an ophthalmic medication, which would be like eye drops or something like that. And you want to clean and disinfect cages and feed containers. You want to make sure that you're doing that regularly so that you don't have this problem. Inner ear infections, symptoms of this would be twisting and lowering of the head because their ears are uncomfortable. They'll hang their head to the one side maybe. They may run in a circle, something like that. Prevention and treatment for ear infections, you want to prevent it by avoiding drafty, cool environmental conditions. You want to keep it nice and warm and low humidity, constant temperature, no drafts. You can also clean the ears out with a boric acid solution, and you can treat it with ear drops. Pneumonia. So symptoms of pneumonia in chinchillas are things like listlessness, failure to eat, breathing difficulty, and also swollen abdomen. Prevention and treatment would be things like you want to prevent it by, again, eliminating cold, drafty, and high humidity conditions. If they do get it, you want to treat it immediately with some sort of antibiotic, whether that be aramycin, penicillin, something different, as long as it's an antibiotic. Impaction, this is where the lower digestive system becomes very tightly packed with food material or feces. It might follow diarrhea. It's caused by poor quality feed. It can also be caused by stress or poor nutrition. The animal is often kind of like humped over with their chin resting between its front feet. They're just very uncomfortable. Think about how you feel when you have a bellyache. Prevention and treatment, you want to make sure that you're giving a dropper of mineral oil every day. You can also add up to 3 full droppers of grapefruit juice to the animal's diet. That will help just kind of move things along. And last but certainly not least, at least for this video, would be ferrets. So, ferrets can actually catch canine distemper, which is another disease that also affects dogs. It's very highly contagious. It is a virus, and it's a major problem. Typically, it results in death for your ferret. Symptoms include things like discharge from the eyes and nose. They will display breathing problems as well as diarrhea. Prevention and treatment, vaccination. If you vaccinate at 12 weeks old and then you give boosters every year, you won't get canine or feline distemper. Treatment really is not effective for ferrets, so make sure you're vaccinating. And then hemorrhagic enteritis is just a fancy way of saying bloody diarrhea, and that's really the main symptom. They'll also go off their feed, they'll lose weight, they'll be dehydrated, they could potentially die from this. Prevention and treatment, you want to treat it with antibiotics and also sulfur. That will help. Botulism is caused by a toxin that's produced by bacteria. Symptoms include breathing difficulty and paralysis, and death can actually occur without symptoms. So you may not know that your ferret is sick until all of a sudden you find that your ferret has died. You want to make sure that you're keeping your food supply very fresh. It's the main way to prevent it. We'll talk about prevention in the next video.